I have mine going behind us. If you have candles at home, please light them. Please bask in the beauty of candles wherever you can find them. We are now live on YouTube for both of the people who normally tune in on YouTube. So, hi, Jonah. Hi, Charlotte and Jerry. And we will start by lighting some candles here. Let me also bring up the words onto the screen share here. I'm doing double duty as Cantor and tech manager, so bear with me, please. Mm-hmm. And almost there. I had a Hanukkah pop up, so let me skip past that. We're not quite at that part of the year just yet. There we are. Okay. So Shabbat Shalom, my friends. We will start in with some candles and go from there. Can you give me a thumbs up if you see the screen share? Excellent. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of the Sabbath. And we will continue on with a little Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem is not only welcoming the angels of Shabbat, but it is from the old Yiddish term stalling for the rabbi, which sounds nothing like Shalom Aleichem, but we'll do it anyway. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bolechem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruni l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The mystics who put together the Kabbalat Shabbat put together a group of beautiful psalms for us to sing, to get our souls, our minds away from the troubles of the week and into a mood of peace, focusing on things larger than ourselves and not just our businesses. So we start a little Kabbalat Shabbat here with Psalm 95 and Lechu Neranana. Lechu Neranana, Lechu Neranana, Lechu Neranana l'Adonai. Lechu Neranana, Lechu Neranana, Lechu Neranana l'Adonai. Naria, Naria, L'tzoi Shenu, וקדמה פניו בתודה. נריע לצור אישנו, בזמירות נריע לו. לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה לאדוני. לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה לאדוני. Sing to Hashem a new song. Sing, all the earth, sing to the Holy One, bless God's name, and proclaim God's victory day after day. Just to mix it up a little from what we normally do, we will go down to the bottom of this beautiful psalm and pick up with Yismechu Hashamayim. Yismechu Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, V'tagel haaretz. Yismechu Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, V'tagel haaretz. Yiram hayam, Yiram hayam, Yiram hayam umelo. 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 Yismechu Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, V'tagel haaretz. We will take a moment just to have this beautiful psalm in front of us before we continue on. For the sake of time, we won't do every psalm of Kabbalat Shabbat, but they are all beautiful, all worth doing, and always a reason to tune in for the next Friday night service, because you never know which one we'll be doing then. Keeping it fresh. So we go to Psalm 98, and we come to the left side of the page with Zamru Ladonai. The music I have in front of me says music by unknown, but it is in fact music by Rabbi Moshe Rothblum of Adat Ariel, right down the street from most of us. So, Zamru Ladonai bechinor, bechinor v'kol zimra, בחצוצרות בקול שופר, הערי לפני המלך אדוני. ירם הים ומלואו, תבל ויושבבה. נהרות ימחאו כף יחד, הרים ירננו. לפני אדוני קיווה, לשפוט הארץ, ישפוט תבל בצדק, להמים במשרים. ירם הים ומלואו, תבל ויושבבה. נהרות ימחאו כף יחד, הרים ירננו.
Thank you, Cantor. On behalf of our congregation, thank you for helping us to receive the Sabbath. It's a pleasure to be with all of you. Finally, I'm sorry for my delayed appearance on Zoom, but it's good to be with all of you from the holy city of Chicago, and to be celebrating Shabbat with you. And where I see in the middle of the Sabbath Psalms, and I don't want to interrupt the mood of the receiving of the Sabbath. If you'd please continue, Cantor, with the next psalm that you were going to sing.
Absolutely, Rabbi. Thank you. I thought that we would skip ahead to a little Lecha Dodi. And I tend to be this evening, for reasons that we don't need to go into, in a little bit of a Leonard Cohen mood. So though we've done this not too long ago, we will bring our friend Cantor Leonard to mind as we do verses 1, 2, 5, and 9 of Lecha Dodi. Lecha Dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'diborecha Hishmeanu el hamyochad Adonai echad Ushmo echad L'shem ultiferet belitchila Lecha Dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha ki mekor haberacha merosh mekedem nesucha סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה לך דודי לקראת קלה בני שבת נקבלה. Verse 5. התעוררי כי באורך קומי אורי אורי שיר דברי כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה לך דודי לקראת קלה בני שבת We rise in body or spirit. I will just rise in spirit at the moment because it's too hard to do this and move the camera at the same time. As we go to verse 9 and welcome in the Sabbath bride. Boi v'shalom ateret bala גם בשמחה ובצהלה תוך אמונה עם סגולה בואי חלה לך דודי לקראת קלה הנה שבת נקבלה לך דודי dikra kala, dine Shabbat, neka Beliak. I think you need to unmute, Rabbi.
I was saying it's always good to hear from Cantor Cohen via Cantor Henry. And it's wonderful to be celebrating Shabbat. Just a brief word of explanation. I'm in Chicago because I had a chance to meet with about 15 Reform colleagues who are forming the rabbinic cabinet that will be part of our work in Poland. And each of them are mobilizing the supporters of their congregations and their work to help us put a stronger footing underneath the work we do in Poland, which is in turn enabling us to do more work in terms of the refugee situation. So I'll be returning tomorrow and be going out over the next several weeks to other places to do similar things. It's good to be in Chicago with relatives, friends, and compatriots. I'll tell you more about that at a later point. At this point, I would like to turn to the Baruch Hu, the call to formal worship. The custom of our people was that we would be invited to come together as a community at temple times. And this is one of the older prayers of our people. And if you can, we invite you to rise and face east as the cantor leads us in the call to worship.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Amevorach Baruch Adonai Amevorach Amevorach Be'olam va'ed Amevorach Amevorach Be'olam va'ed.
Thank you, Cantor. We're at this time going to share the first of the prayers that surround the Shema. The first prayer invites us to be aware of the presence of the divine through what we call the natural order of things, the awareness of the fairly regular way in which the seasons and time, the natural rhythms of life occur. I'm going to read this in English and then ask the cantor to conclude with the seal of prayer. Blessed are you, Adonai, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light. transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tzvaot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening.
El Chai v'Kayam, Tamid Yimloch Aleinu le'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'ma'ariv ha'ravim.
Amen. We continue with the second of the blessings that introduce the Shema, and it speaks of this idea that is at the heart of Judaism, that introduced to the ecology of life is a teaching of love that we call the honeydews, the mitzvot, actions that were to take place to bring about the divine into life, not by teaching with words, but by teaching through action, bringing compassion into a life. We're in the moment in which the next time we gather for prayer will be Shavuot, and it is the holiday that marks the great high point of the receiving of the Torah. We read the Ten Commandments, and we read the book of Ruth, which is the story of the great compassion of Ruth for the family that she builds with Elimelech. This is based on the idea that love is one of the central elements in the spiritual world. We ask the cantor to chant the words to Ahavat Olam.
Ahavat Olam, Beit Yisrael, Amecha ahavta, Amcha ahavta. Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadeta, Otanu limadeta. Al ken Adonai Eloheinu b'shochbenu uv'kumenu nasiach b'chukecha v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha uv'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed ki hem chayenu le'orech yameinu uvahem negei omam v'layla negei omam v'layla le'ahavatcha al tasir menu le'olamim Baruch atah Adonai Ohev Amo Yisrael Ohev Amo Yisrael.
So just as we perceive God having given us a Torah that is an act of God's teaching and love for the people of Israel, we respond with the words of the Shema, in which we respond in kind with the love of God, with the Ve'ahavta, and the recitation of how we can act out that love in our life. So we invite you to rise, if it's your custom, to recite the Shema together with the cantor. or to sit if it's your custom. And we join together with one heart in announcing God's unity.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem, Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Vaed. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Thus shall you remember to observe all God's commandments and to be holy to your God. Adonai, your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. Adonai is your God. We turn now to the prayers of redemption, the Mi Chamocha, the last of the three prayers of the triad surrounding the Shema itself. Hello? Yes. Cantor, are you able to sing the Mi Chamocha? Technical issues. Okay. So we'll recite the Mi Chamocha together. The words Mi Chamocha ve'elim Adonai is recited by the people as they arrive at the Red Sea. The sea is parted, and they join together at that moment, celebrating the moment of their liberation, having come through the desert, having been chased by the Egyptian army, having come through the sea. They celebrate on the other side. And the words...
Rabbi,
yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear
Excellent.
you now.
Like the Verizon ads of old, you can hear me now. So we will jump in with ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai mi kamocha ne'aga b'kodesh nora tehilot sefer nora tehilot מלאכותך ראו בניך בוקי הים לפני משה ומרים זה לי ענו ואמרו זה לי ענו ואמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד כיפת אדוני את יעקב, וגלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
Thank you, Cantor. You saved the day. We listen now to the song that marks the end of the day and the process of coming to the hope that the world will be enfolded in the tent of peace. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. May there be spread over us a tent of peace over all of the Jewish people, over all the world, and over Jerusalem.
Uferos aleinu sukat shelomecha, ufros aleinu sukat shelomecha. Ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la. Spread over all of us your sukkah, your sukkah of shalom. Spread over all of us your sukkah, your sukkah of shalom.
Thank you, Cantor. We turn now to the a silent meditation, which will be introduced by the prayers of the first three prayers of the Amidah. This is an opportunity for people to be connected spiritually to the three concepts of opening prayers of the Amidah. The first prayer is being connected to the idea that we are spiritually connected to the family of the Jewish people, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah. And that sense that these prayers have now, for at least 5 decades in my lifetime, included the matriarchs, has been part of a revolution in Jewish life that I think has become very important in helping us to think about a whole host of issues that have come to the fore, not only about the meaning and significance of the participation of women in Jewish life, but also the way in which women have assumed leadership and have been invited into a prominent role in our legal system as masters of their own fate and responsible for making their own decisions. Would be remiss to not say that much of what we think of as progress is threatened at this moment. But it begins with a certain kind of consciousness. Think of what it meant to say these prayers without saying Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah. And now we just do it as a matter of course. and to say the prayers that we say next that speak of the idea that we all have an obligation to sustain life with a sense of mercy, bechesed, and to be um, uh, people who sustain each other and lift each other up, and healers of uh, people who are ill, not only ill of body, but ill of soul, um, and people who understand what captivity has meant and how we can end the captivity, both spiritual and physical, of one another. And of course, the hope that this life connects us to another realm of existence. Um, all of these are part of what raises the horizon of what we mean as we speak of ourselves as a family of men and women who conceive of our lives together as a family, not in binary terms alone, but in terms that perceive our mutual responsibility one for another, leading to a world of holiness. All of this is threatened at this moment, I feel, um, by the political regime in this country. I invite you to recite the Amidah's first three prayers with a certain sense of focus tonight, and then for us to have a moment of silence, and we'll come back together in gratitude. Please rise.
Adonai Sevatai Tiftach Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל, וזוכר הסתי אבות ואמהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה, רב להושיע, מוריד הטל. מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו משני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומדומה לך. מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני מחיה הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש וקדושים בכל יום, יהללוך סלע, ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
I invite you to use this time for meditation and spiritual mobilization. In the evening, we recite the prayer that concludes the Amidah. May there be great peace for Israel, and may it be a part of our reality and the reality of the entire world, because that is what will announce a different era of peace, one in which there is good, not only for everyone, but blessing that reigns for all Israel in every time and every place. The great peace of allowing for there to be a blessing and peace. Cantor?
Shalom. What? That's a little too high. I apologize. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki ata hu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki ata hu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov be'enecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
Thank you, Cantor. We had planned at this time to invite Randy to Karen? Yes.
On that subject, the
Yes.
subject of Dr. Randy Taylor, we've just been texting, and because I hadn't heard from him. And oddly enough, he can see and hear us, but his camera, neither his camera nor his mic are working. And he was counting on his daughter to be there with her computer, and she's not, because she is out celebrating because she took her AP exam today. So we are very happy for that. We miss Randy, and he and Peace are on back order. He and his, I should say, his computer is on back order along with Peace. So hopefully in our lifetimes.
Okay, so we won't hear from him tonight. We had hoped to hear from him. He had, I should say, for those of you that don't know, at least a part of his background, he's a physician who works on issues of pain with people. And I've known Randy since he was an undergraduate at Pitzer College, when he was just a little tyke. We wanted to hear about his first trip to Israel, and so we miss him. His voice, he's been a participant in our congregation for the last couple of years. We demand a rematch soon with a working computer. I would like to share just a little bit more about something that's been going on in my work. in Poland. If Madam President, that would be acceptable, just so people hear a little bit about that.
I'm sitting here texting Randy, so I
Yes.
missed what you just said, but I'm sure it's acceptable.
Okay. So many of you know that February 24th, we mobilized to do as much as we could on behalf of the Ukrainian refugees that were coming, both Jewish and non-Jewish. And we've been very involved in that. And most of that in the first several weeks, I would say month even, was pretty ad hoc. We set up impromptu soup kitchens. We connected with the World Kitchen. And a lot of that work is still continuing because you still have to feed people every day and so forth. But early on, we were visited by one of the founding members of Beth Ohr, who is a person who's worked in the issue of child trauma. And early on, we developed plans to work in that area. Tonight, we have with us Claudia, who I think some of you know. Where is Claudia? I don't see her this moment. There she is. Okay. And one of the projects we have, and we'll have I hope a full opportunity to learn about the project that Claudia has brought to us, which is in process. It is a rather remarkable activity that is basically helping parents and children who have very little in the way of, young children who have very little in the way of verbal skills, to begin to talk about the trauma they've gone through. And we're going to develop that into an app that will be in Polish, Ukrainian, and in Russian, the three languages. And that is going to be partly available just to anyone who wants it. Presently, it exists in an iPhone version that is in Spanish and in English. And it will be used in numerous venues. And that's something that we're working on now. We're actually now seeking people that will, in a efficient way, work with Claudia to transfer the idea into both iPhone and the other formats which are more prevalent in Eastern Europe.
Android.
Pardon?
Android.
Android. Thank you. And we're going to put that out for bid. The big news is that we've also received a grant working with UNICEF to open 100 childcare centers, a group of 4 organizations, Beit Polska, which is the umbrella organization of our little congregations, working together with a Polish children's group, is going to receive a multi-million-dollar grant. We've just signed the papers for it. We're still negotiating about the exact amounts. But the plan is that we will begin at the end of this month to open 1 center a day until we fulfill the 100 centers. And we're looking for more money to open another 200 centers. We're in the process of working on getting grants from other groups. Part of that plan is to involve 70% of the employees, the teachers, the cooks, the therapists, and so forth, that will be Ukrainian women. So it's a way for Ukrainian women who are looking for work to be able to help themselves. and provide opportunities for other Ukrainian women who want to just rest, who want to go look for other work, who want to work in those centers to have employment, but also for about 30% to also work of people of Polish background. So those are plans that are in the works now. And we've raised the first chunk of money for the first 100. And part of my work here is actually related to, here when I say, I want to be clear, here in Chicago. One of the things that we discovered is that the pandemic has devastated our community in Poland. Normally, when we had a Seder pre-pandemic, we would have 100, 150 people at a Seder. This year, we had 16. We have good attendance on Zoom, but we have to bring our community out of the world of being online to being in person. As a cost-saving measure, we closed our building about 6 months into the pandemic because we were spending $4,000 a month and we couldn't go into the building because we needed so much space or the authorities would shut us down. And so now we have to find a new building, a new space. We have to rebuild the community again. And that led to the idea that we would form a rabbinic cabinet to help us raise money to rent a space. And the space now is actually not just for us, but for Ukrainian Jews to join us. One of the things that we discovered in putting together these centers is that the Ukrainians, much like modern Jews everywhere, didn't come as a Jewish community, they came as individuals. And we hired 2 people to help us organize the centers. And we discovered that both of them happened to be Jews. We didn't know it. It was not relevant in the conversation. They had looked high and low for seders, ways to connect to the Jewish community when they got to Poland, couldn't find anything. So we've understood that the rehabilitation of us coming out of post-pandemic times and the connecting with the Ukrainian Jews who are in Poland will go hand in hand as we find a place, as we rebuild our community. And we've had some very exciting help in doing that. We estimate that our new budget will move to be somewhere in the neighborhood of $120,000. And we've raised the first $40,000 this week in doing that, which is an important start. And that gives us enough confidence to go out on the market and raise and find a place that will allow us to rent a place, but also to afford to bring our Polish-speaking rabbis back for considerable amounts of time, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, to actually serve in Poland, which is something that we're going to be doing as much as possible, augmented by American and other languages rabbis, including Ukrainian rabbis who can't go back to Ukraine, but could help us in Poland to meet not only their community, but also the Polish-speaking community. So we're building all these condominium relationships that we hope will create a new moment in our community's life. And that's kind of a little report about what we're doing, all the while that we're doing the usual things that we've been doing, plus the relief efforts. The relief efforts are still going on. June 12th, our sister community in Lviv. Lviv is that community known as Lemberg in the 19th century, Lvov when it was Polish, is still functioning as a progressive Jewish community. As people come east from the areas where they're fighting in Ukraine, the last major city is Lviv. And we've been sending considerable amounts of food, medicine, supplies to that community to help sustain the community. And they're going to hold a concert June 12th to raise money. We're going to do it on our larger framework for the World Union for Progressive Judaism and our Freighted Legacy program. So I want you to plan to join our concert, and we're going to raise money specifically for the Lviv community. We've done concerts with them before. And in fact, the summer that the pandemic first broke out, we had planned to do a series of concerts, and we had hoped originally that our cantor, Andrew Henry, and Mrs. Cantor, Rabbi Shana, would be joining us. We'll get that all to happen eventually when we can travel again. But this is going to be wonderful music, Yiddish, Ukrainian, Russian, Polish, and it'll be all online, and we'll keep you informed. So it's a little bit of a report of what we're doing. I hope it's not too far astray, but it's some, I think, very good news and some very fortunate progress in responding not only to rebuilding our community, but in helping the refugees at the same time. I'm happy to answer any questions, if there's any questions. And at some point, we will have an opportunity for Claudia to talk when we get a little further into the actual work about her particular work on the app. Right now, we're just putting it out to bid. So we'll let you know more about that in the future. Okay. May I invite people to join in the Aleinu?
We'll be coming to your screen in just a moment. And this is a moment where I do want to shout out a message of thanks to my amazing, phenomenal wife, not only for teaching me so many of these cantorial pieces, but also for picking out a house where my home office faces east. So I can face east for the Aleinu without having to turn away from the camera. And that was really wise on her part, I must say. So
Foresight.
Exactly. Please rise if you are able as we come to the Aleinu.
I have to turn towards Lake Michigan.
That's fair enough, Rabbi. עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשינו כגאי הרצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות אדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים, לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Thank you. We, at this time, would like to invite people who are reciting prayers for people who are ill to share the names of people. And if you don't mind, I'm just going to call on you if there's names of friends. Polly, if you would like to share a name, please. You have to unmute.
Patricia Sachs, my sister.
Thank you. Sue and Joel,
Janet Holtzman and Jean Ablavaya.
Claudia and Lynn,
Vance. Irene.
And Richard Atkins.
let's see here. Karen,
Andrew Hyman, Julian Smith, Suzanne Joyce, Rachel Furman, Annabelle, Izzy, Jane. I think that's it.
thank you. Alan Hyman,
Thank you. Karen's covered it. Thanks so much.
okay. Andrea,
My sister-in-law, Inga White.
Eric,
Fortunately, I don't know anyone who's ill right now.
Mrs. Cantor, and Mom Cantor Rabbi.
Michael Hyman, John Strain, Ruth Jaffe, Anna and Ellen, Norma and Steve Hamburger, who were sharing COVID. I guess that's quite common now. And Debbie Sattler.
And Canterbury Hasid.
Thank you. And Sherry Paul.
I can't think of anybody ill that's close right now.
Want to add my host, Sissy Lax, and my mother-in-law, Edith, and my cousin, Richard Atkins, and Cantor. I think you're the last person, please.
I think I am. I will add also my mom, Ellen, and little sister, Anna, Rabbi Steve Robbins, of course, Cantor Rudy Hasid, and all those who have no one else to pray for them. Misha Berach Avoteinu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. And as we hold all of them in our hearts, we will go to screen share so you can see the words.
Thank you.
Misha Berach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Thank you, Cantor. We turn now to the recitation of Kaddish. And if there are people who would like to recite Kaddish and want to share a name, I'll just invite you to share that. Cantor?
Tonight, I'm remembering Phyllis Nair, the mom of my boss and dear friend Nancy. Phyllis passed away this past Monday at the age of 91. Her secret to long life was 3 martinis a day and quitting smoking at the age of 90. And just being so stubborn that she wouldn't accept anything less.
Want to mention the name of Joyce Powers, who passed away last Sunday and was laid to rest on Tuesday. And is a friend of ours who has often participated with us in services, Linda Leviton, mother of Linda Leviton, and a close friend of our congregation. And I'd ask Shana if she could share the name from the Markowitz family.
Remembering with love and admiration, Larry, Lawrence, and Patty Patricia Markowitz. They were laid to rest together yesterday. They had been high school sweethearts, married 70 years. They passed away within 10 months of one another. Amazing, beautiful people. Thank you, Haim, for introducing me to the family.
Thank you. Other names?
I see Polly's hand up.
Mikiko Lowenthal and Diane Warco, my sister.
Thank you. I invite everybody to join with us in reciting the Kaddish.
Sherry, did you have a name you wish to share?
I just lost a very good friend, Catherine Hill. Thank you.
Thank you. Please rise for the Kaddish. Yitgadal, Yitgadash, Shemei Rabbah. Yalma Divrach, Yeroteh, V'yamlich Malchuteh, V'chayechon, V'meichon, V'chayedechol Beit Yisrael, V'agalav Zman Kariv, V'yimru, Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevorach, Le'olam Ulmei Almaya. Yitbarach, V'yishtabach, V'yitrumam, V'yitnaseh, V'yitadar, V'yitaleh, V'yitalal, Shemei D'Kedusha, V'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiram b'yama v'yimru amen. Yehi shlomo rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. May the one who makes peace in the heavens make peace for all who mourn, and let us say, Amen. We have some announcements, and just ask our we have the Sfirat HaOmer. Before we announce anything, we want to count the Omer. Cantor, if you would put that Sfirat HaOmer up. Today is the 28th day of the counting of the Omer, 4 weeks. We'll remain standing, if you would, please, and recite the bracha. Here we go. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu v'mitzotav v'tzivanu al sfirat haomer hayom shmona v'esrim yom shehem arba'a shvuot la'omer. Today is the 28th days, which are 4 weeks of the counting of the Omer, which reminds us that your rabbi and the contingent of rabbis in Northern California were busy today planning our Shavuot activities, and they're going to be bigger, better, more interesting than ever. And we want you to set aside June 5th at 8 p.m. To join with us in what will be the opportunity to hear from 4 rabbis, 4 arenas, many clowns, certainly a number of circus animals, and the opportunity to see flashing lights and firecrackers of all sorts as the Ten Commandments are revealed once again. The night of Shavuot. And I have agreed to make virtual, this is the last year we're doing this now, because we're going to stop doing this, but we're going to have the last round of virtual blintzes and virtual cheesecake, and we're going to have the real stuff next year. So God willing. Did I miss anything, Cantor Shana?
Chaim, it's the Saturday night. Is that the 4th of June? It's the first Saturday of June, whenever it is.
I think
I've
it
lost,
is.
I've lost the date, but it should be fun and
Yeah.
meaningful, we hope.
We'll
It's
send
not
it out
quite
in writing.
Purim, but it's still
It is
great
the
stuff. The 4th, okay.
Yes, we'll send it out to everybody. Don't miss it. Madam President?
So I will add two things. Next Saturday, we will have Torah study at 10:30. As usual, I will be sending out our regular announcement. And then the other thing next Sunday will be our special program about the Czech Torahs, the saved and restored Torahs, one of which is belongs on permanent loan to Beth Ohr, and it has been residing for the last year or two with Rabbi Shana and Cantor Andrew, and God willing, let us all celebrate with it in a few months for the High Holy Days, which again, God willing, we will be in person with the Torah. So it's this Sunday, the 22nd. So not this Sunday, but a week from this Sunday. And I will include it in the next announcement. That's at 11 in the morning. Am I right about that? Sue and Claudia are the ones who've been negotiating all of this. Thank you very much for doing that. And I will just say, so there is an organization in London. One of you tell me the name. I want to say, Memorial Scrolls. Is that right?
Trust. Memorial Scrolls Trust.
Trust. And that has been their mission for some decades. And it is through them that this particular Torah was received. And it belonged to a little town in the Czech Republic, Byzance, and is about 150 or more years old, actually more than that. So we are very, very lucky to have it. It was loaned through our founding rabbi, Rabbi Michael Roth, who himself was from that area, more in Hungary, and he particularly wanted a Torah that was close to where he grew up, and that is that Torah. So that will be, I think, a really special thing, and a lot of history there. So please do, if you can, join us May 22nd at 11. It will be this usual Zoom, and I will be sending out the information. So I think those two things pretty much cover the rest of May.
Thank you. Let me just add one final notice. It's not necessarily Beth Ohr related, but nevertheless important. Many of us are friends and remember the participation of Rabbi Jerry Goldstein. He is one of the remaining group of very courageous rabbis that participated in the attempt to to desegregate the South, as freedom writer, but he also participated later on in life in helping to start a interdenominational Beit Din. And I've put on the chat the fact that on May 29th, we're having a celebration that will benefit the Sander Kaplan Beit Din. This is the place where people are welcomed into Judaism most warmly and with a great deal of dignity, and actually with a lot of fun. There will not be virtual cheesecake. There will be real cheesecake, and celebrating Jerry, and really a wonderful learning opportunity in honor of Shavuot, and invite you to come spend a couple of hours learning about Jewish tradition and the traditions of the Sander Kaplan Beit Din and a wonderful rabbi, Jerry Goldstein. Any other announcements?
Where is this to take place?
It's going to take place at Leo Beck
Oh.
on the west side, and I'm sure if you look at your, you'll discover it's going to be outside, so you don't have to worry about COVID, I hope. We're trying to make it a non-spreader event.
However, it will also be on Zoom, I believe.
Yes, yes.
So some, if you're on a diet, just eat the virtual cheesecake and not the real stuff.
What time?
It's going to be in the afternoon. I think it's from
Just
12 to 2 or something like that.
I will just add, I hope to make it, though I'm not 100% sure I can, but it is, the Sandra Kaplan Beit Din is a wonderful organization. Not only does my wife periodically get to sit on the Beit Din, but it is through the Sandra Kaplan Beit Din that I formally converted myself. So I can tell you quite, firsthand what a marvelous, beautiful program and organization it is. And I think Shana wants to jump in with something. Oh, she's just putting a little heart on the screen. Aw, yay.
I can't think of a better recommendation than you.
Bless you. Thank you.
Very good. Cantor, if there are no more announcements, we'd love to hear a final salute to Shabbat and close us out as a Shabbat community.
Rabbi, I will admit to being incredibly uncreative and bordering on boring this evening as we quite simply turn to the Siddur with a little Adon Olam to bring our Shabbat service to a close for this evening. With our melody from Jerba, as it is absolutely my favorite, and the music I happen to have in front of me. So, Adon Olam Hashem Malach B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Le'ed Nasa B'chefzo Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Ve'acharei Kichlot HaKol Levado Yimloch Nora Ve'hu Haya Ve'hu Hove Ve'hu Yeh B'tifara Ve'hu Echad Ve'en Sheni Lahamshil Lo Lahachdira Beli Reshit Beli Tachlit Ve'lo Ha'oz Ve'hamisra Ve'hu Eli Ve'chai Goali Ve'tzur Chevli Ve'et Sara Ve'hu Nisi Umanos Li Ve'nat Kosi Ve'yom Ekra Ve'ado Avkidruchi Ve'et Ishan Ve'aira Ve'imruchi Geviati Adonai li ve'lo Iran. We all sing together, and you're welcome to unmute and make a giant mess of this because why not? Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat
Thank you,
Shalom.
Cantor. Thank you all.